So in this whole games $80, $90 stuff, I made a video yesterday where I said if games become $80 or $90, so what? There's so much content out there that that shouldn't be something that moves the needle, especially when you see the fact that a lot of these games they basically go on sale very fast. And I gave the example of me buying Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the I think Ultimate Edition for about $100, and then after the game came out and all of the above, by the holiday period, the game was $3. Now, somebody took that and said, VG, you lose the argument. Here's the thing. I don't care to convince you to not spend your money on the games that you want to spend. Sandman45981, shout out to you, an audience member. Let me go ahead and just give it to you straight up. A content creator and anybody else that's buying video games are doing so under two different circumstances. This is something that many content creators have not come out to say publicly, but I'm going to say it because I think it's actually very important. Now, my point was that there is a huge loss in the value of games as time goes on, which also gives you and brings you to the point where you can pay less for content. Because that copy of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was bought under my LLC. Now, when it's bought under your business, it's a business expense compared to somebody else who will buy that particular game with, post-tax money. Let's do some econ. Let's do some econ here. So let's say, me and my brother, for instance, my brother does not run a YouTube channel or a gaming business. So if he buys a video game, it's coming out of monies that he's already spent on taxes. He's already paid tax on, and he buys that game, and that's it. At the end of the, whole cycle when he's filing for taxes, that is just a experience based, an expense, based on his personal pleasure. For me as a content creator, I run the Video Game Fight School channel and also my other channel under an LLC. It is a business expense. So it's going to be counted as, an expense against my potential taxes and will basically go ahead and save me money on taxes that let me put it this way. It will reduce my tax burden. So inherently, that $100 that I spent is different from the $100 that, say, my brother spends. This is the thing that a lot of content creators would not say. This is why you're seeing some of them come out and say things like, oh, $80 is not really that big of a deal for them to play a game, or $100 game is not really that big. Some of them. They say that because they have the audacity, because you are paying for the game for them, for us. And it's not like you're doing it like and I say, oh, no, I'm grateful that you watch the Video Game Fight School channel. I'm just wanting to be honest and open with my community in this video because I think it's quite necessary. Because a lot of people will think that, you're trying to come in and, trying to poop on their party or something like that. Nah, I'm just telling you that from the consumer perspective, especially when you're paying for these titles and you basically only get the game that eventually the title then goes down in price for, I wonder what the inherent benefit is for having paid full price for these titles anyways without getting anything on the back end. Do you understand what I mean? Let's do the numbers again. Let me go ahead and just show you something in place. So let's go to Steam and let's go to specials. This is where I play most of my games, right? So in the specials category, we'll click on like a AAA franchise, right? That's maybe 3, 4, 5, maybe even at this point 6, 7 years old, right? And you'll notice something that these games, when they first launched, look at their original prices that are getting slashed compared to their current prices, right? So you as the gamer, if you go ahead and buy this game at launch, you subsidize the game for majority of other gamers that are going to come on the back end and pick it up on the floor on sale. But most of the content creators, in many cases, because it's a business expense, it also gets that, advantage of that cost being run against their taxes at the end of the day. So basically there is a double benefit that they get from a lot of these games. The third layer of this is for the content creator. They're given most of them are given games. What will surprise you? Let me go ahead and just surprise you here. I have 2 copies of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I paid for the one on Xbox. I wanted to play it early because as a content creator, at the time this game came out, I had the most number of videos on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Oh yes. So I wanted to be on the forefront of the coverage. I was looking forward to the game. I wanted to see what the game was about. But let's not be fooled. Warner Brothers sent me a copy of the game. This is the copy that they sent me of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Oh, you really did think that somewhere, somehow, that all these content creators are over here basically sweating it and paying for their games 100% of the time? Oh, no. That's not how it works. Let me see if I can find my playlist. Guys, according to Doug Dark, when he will say there's levels to this, you really got to understand that there are levels to this. Now, the content creator will start out at 0 or the negative side. You know, when you first kick off your channel, you're buying your games yourself. I remember when I started my first channel, the Gamer Dad channel, I was wanting to cover other video games, and I was playing The Division, and I remember many games coming out at the time, and I remember Dishonored 2 coming out. I was like, man, but Dishonored 2 was like $60 at the time. I think $59.99. Let me see if I can find my Suicide Squad playlist while I'm talking. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. I bought Dishonored 2 then. I barely even had any time to cover the game. And, you know, you're an inexperienced YouTuber. You don't know what the heck you're doing, right? You know, you're just trying to figure out, okay, what kind of content am I going to make? Do you know how much Dishonored 2 is now? Basically $5. Now, yes, it's 8 years old, but it was way less in terms of its cost, you know, within a few years. Why? Because there's content everywhere. That's the point I'm trying to make. Now, by all means, if you want to jump in and go ahead and buy, you know, games at launch and what, yeah, sure. No one is saying not to. I'm not arguing against you. Remember, I've told you, I will not tell you what to do with your money. However, I will show you the options that are available to you as, you know, a customer, because you do have that power. Someone's going to subsidize it for you, or you will subsidize it for somebody else. Am I seeing that there's anything wrong with that? No, I'm just pointing out that there are advantages everywhere. And believe you me, there is the advantage to the person who pays less for the content, because in today's market, what have we seen? The guy that comes into the game later on is the one that gets the very best version of the game in many cases, right? So this is exactly where we are right now in this conversation. And I think, you know, let's not misconstrue it. Watch your content creators very carefully that are telling you that, oh, it's somewhat okay to go ahead and buy these games for $100. Watch them carefully. They're sitting there talking for hours while people are basically meeting their chat goals. And then they'll come here and tell you that, oh, it's okay to spend excessive amounts of money on these video games. Then when it's time for them to do their taxes, those games that you basically paid for them indirectly, or in some cases directly, they're going to use it and basically go, you know, they're going to take that cost and then offset it against their taxes. Guys, you got to be able to think deeply about this stuff from that perspective. I'm here, believe you me, to not gather subscribers. Like I'm going to finish this video. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to go to work. I love my job. I love to grind. I purposefully work where I work because I enjoy what I do. Yes, I know not everybody is, you know, built to do what we do. It is what it is, but it's a calling. It's not even, this is one thing, I did not even think I was going to be doing what I do. And YouTube is just a side fun hobby. Like I could decide not to do it and I'll be fine. You feel me? You know what I mean? So again, I just wanted to make sure that we are well aware of where we stand. This is why you see me talking about Game Pass and all of this stuff, because these are the options that make gaming affordable for people so that they're not basically getting scarfed by these corpos, because these corpos, that's what they're here for. They couldn't be bothered. They want to take your money. That's why other content creators like, you know, Raton stopped taking review keys from developers because he was like, you know, there are just so many. I mean, those are all kinds of different conversations out there, but let's not get too deep into that. I just wanted to go ahead and say, yo, you know, I'm not arguing with you, bro. If you want to pay $100 for your games, if you want to pay $300 for your games, yeah, man, do what you want. Just realize that there's an entirely different game around these games. You feel me? And I just said, you know what? Let me just go ahead and just share game with y'all. You understand what I mean? All right. Now that you know that, carry on with what you were doing. Thanks for watching. Peace out.